It's election day and voters right here in California are heading to the polls. Joining us now is the first ever second gentleman of the United States, as well as USC law professor and practicing lawyer, Doug Emhoff.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you so much for coming. To begin, why is it important for people to get out and vote in this election?
Well, thanks for having me. It's good to be here. Look, this is about your democracy. This is about our country. It's about what's fair. And it's about, honestly, fighting back, because this administration has basically strong-armed other states like Texas, Florida, and others into taking the power away from the people and, redistricting, gerrymandering, and stacking the deck in favor of one party, which is just not democracy. So here in California, we have Prop 50 on the ballot, and Prop 50 is an attempt to level the playing field and fight back and, restore some semblance of normalcy to our democracy. And I encourage everyone to do the research, and like myself, hopefully you will vote yes on Prop 50 today, if you haven't already voted.
Diving a bit more into Proposition 50, opponents of Prop 50 argue that shifting redistricting control away from the independent commission undermines fairness and opens the door to partisan gerrymandering, as you just mentioned. How do you respond to those concerns?
It's already happening in these other states in a way that is out of control. You have most states, even if they're so-called red states, are not 70-30, 80-20 in favor of one party. And so that's basically having one viewpoint reflected in Congress, which is not what this democracy is. So I understand where people are coming from, but this is an attempt to push back on non-independent redistricting. And here, at least, this is being put forth to the people of the state of California. In these other states, the people did not get to vote on it. Their governor's office and the state legislatures were just strong-armed, and they just did it by fiat, not by a vote of the people. So here, it's an election, and the people here in California get to decide what we're going to do.
In your view, beyond just casting a ballot, what can young people, such as college students here at USC, do to help strengthen our democracy?
I always say you can start small. Some of these problems feel so overwhelming, and I know I've got a 26-year-old, a 31-year-old. I teach. I'm around young people at work, so we have these conversations all the time. And the answer isn't to feel that it's so overwhelming that you just put your head down and do nothing. So start small. So one, register to vote. Vote in every election so you can exercise that power. And then two, your friend network, your school network, you get people engaged, start having conversations real time, online, volunteer to work on elections, volunteer to do public service. It's not only in elected office where you can do public service. So there's lots of things that you can do that are right in front of you. Start small, get engaged, because this is affecting young people. What's going on right now, whether it's the environment, whether it's reproductive rights, whether it's healthcare, all these things that are under siege right now, you can go out and do something about it. But it starts today. Go out and vote.
Thank you. Given your own journey, you went to USC, became a lawyer, became a public figure, you're now back at USC, you're a practicing lawyer. Are there any specific moments in your career that really made you value public service, civic participation?
Well, it all started here at USC that put me on my journey. That journey first was just being a great lawyer. I wanted to go out in the community and be a awesome lawyer. And I wanted to be a lawyer because I hated bullies growing up. It was a way to help people, help clients. And while I was building my career, I also started doing pro bono work, which is free legal services for those in need. And that started day one. And that started me on this other path of public service. And once I, married Kamala Harris, who was the Attorney General when we met and married, that got me more into the public eye and supporting her. But also by supporting her in her various roles, I was able to have my own platforms, whether it was fighting hate, whether it was sticking up gender equity issues, pay equity, promoting our country all over the world. It was great. And so now I get to come back and do both again. I get to be a lawyer again, which I love. I get to be a professor here, love here. And I also get to continue to advocate for issues that we need to get behind, like Prop 50.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about your experience on the national stage. You were obviously the first second gentleman we have ever had in American history. What did that mean for you to be in that role, and were you able to kind of shift the role at all, given that you were the first man in it?
Yeah, it was hard at first, because remember, it was right during COVID. I had been a busy practicing lawyer for 30 years up to that point. I loved it. I had a full plate of work on my COVID desk when Joe Biden called Kamala Harris to be on the ticket. And up until a few months ago, that was the last day I'd practiced for almost 5 years. So it was a big, change. And going into the public eye, I'd kind of been in it, married to her, but then as on the campaign as the first second gentleman, it was a big adjustment. Being the first man in the role was a big adjustment, and there's no game plan. There's no instruction manual. You just have to figure it out. And I'll bring it back to here. The confidence that was instilled in me at USC Law School, the confidence of being a lawyer, standing up in court. I always say nobody wants to hire a shaky lawyer, so I brought that same spirit to second gentleman, and also just raised my hand. I like to work hard, so whatever they needed out of me, I just said, I'll volunteer, I'll do it. So that by volunteering, it took me all over the country and all over the world doing things, attending inaugurations, giving speeches at monuments, and all the things that I wound up doing that I never thought I would do. It was because I just, kind of leaned into it and went for it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing those experiences. And then, so right after, you then were a part of the shortest presidential campaign in American history, lasting only 107 days. Is there a moment from that campaign that really sticks out to you, or something that people may not know about that you want to share?
Well, buy Kamala's book. It's called 107 Days, but it's a lot of it's in there, but it really is almost a blur. And it was so intense. The ending was not what we wanted. And until I started looking at some of the galleys on the book, I had just kind of blanked some of it out. So reading the book and experiencing her book tour again has actually reminded me, yes, of the pain of not winning and seeing what's happened to this country, but also the joy, the pictures of, me. I gave a speech at the DNC convention, millions of people watched it, and so many people still come up to me and say, wow, that was amazing. And so those moments, being with the team that we put together, traveling the country, this scrappy group on the ticket, and those experiences, and spending some of these moments with the family, the highs and the lows. And she speaks about election night, and I had almost blanked that whole thing out until reading about it in her book, and then hearing her talking about it. So again, it was the highs of highs, the lows of lows, but here we are, standing strong as a couple, as a family, and I think it's good to see her back out there. I know a lot of people, millions of people, love seeing her, and she's out there, and I love supporting her.
I'd love to touch on that point a little bit. Looking ahead to the future, your wife recently said, quote, "I'm not done," potentially hinting at a 2028 campaign. Is there anything you're able to share about what the future may hold for her?
It was interesting. She had been on the road, and I saw that too, and I said, honey, do we have to have a conversation about something? So I'll leave that for her. I mean, she's entitled to do what she wants at this point, and I'm going to support her whatever she decides to do in the future.
Thank you so much for being here, for answering our questions. Everyone, get out and vote. You can vote until 8 p.m. here in California, and fight on.
Fight on.